You have heard of keto, and if you are wondering about keto and you have heard good things about keto and bad things about keto, you're in the right place because today's talk is focused on keto and its benefits for your energy. A lot of people believe that when you start a ketogenic diet, that there's this thing called the keto flu. They're afraid that they're going to have low energy. It's a very different kind of approach. They're not going to be eating a lot of the carbohydrate rich foods that they're used to. But that can't be further from the truth when you actually look at, guess what? The science. So I'm Dr. Rita Marie, and welcome back to our channel, to our Facebook groups, our pages. Super excited to have you here and have the opportunity to talk to you about using keto to increase your energy. When you do it right, and I'm going to define what right means. When you do keto right, you bypass a lot of the negativity, a lot of the downsides. And there are quite a number of downsides of doing keto and doing keto wrong. My approach to keto is to help somebody get into what we call mild nutritional ketosis. And when they go into mild nutritional ketosis, it's not a severe diet. It's not a diet rich in animal protein and lots of fat and eating lard all day. That's not a healthy diet, no matter how you slice it. That's what I call dirty keto. What I'm talking about here is an approach to keto to just get your body in the mode of burning fat for fuel instead of having to rely solely on glucose. Typical diet, we're just looking for food all day long. We're looking for sources of fuel, sources of glucose, carbohydrate in the diet. When we look at ketosis, there's a lot of benefits for the brain, for the mitochondria, for the hormones that people don't think about when they think about the typical keto diet, especially if you tend to be more of a plant-based eater, whether you're completely vegetarian or vegan, or just tend to focus on eating more plants in your diet. You can do that, and you can get into a mild state of nutritional ketosis, which has all sorts of benefits. I first discovered the benefits of doing keto and doing it in this way quite a while ago, probably almost 2 decades ago, as I started to work with patients who had blood sugar imbalances. And how did I know they had blood sugar imbalances? Well, they'd come in to see me and say, I just can't seem to lose weight. I keep putting on weight and I'm eating healthy. I'm eating a healthy diet. I don't know why I keep putting on weight. Or they had a history of diabetes in their family. And we did some typical screening type tests and found that they had some markers for blood sugar imbalance. And even though they weren't diabetic, I approached it from the standpoint of getting their glucose in balance. So we use things like glucose meters, and now they have ketone meters. So we use things like glucose meters and ketone meters to help a person to get into a healthy state of ketosis, not an unhealthy state of ketosis that's achieved by drinking olive oil and coconut oil and lard all day long. A couple of misconceptions that I want to clear up before I go into how to do keto in a way that increases your energy. And I want to give you a little bit of the science behind how it increases your energy by improving the mitochondria function. So typically, people eat keto, like the keto diet that was come up with a very severe and extreme form of a keto diet that was developed to help kids with seizures to stabilize their brain function. And that's a pretty severe form of keto. And best if you're dealing with somebody with keto, with seizures, that you do it in such a way that is done right so you don't put them into a negative state. So a lot of that is, doctor supervised and all that. But a less severe form of keto can be achieved. So ketosis, let me just define ketosis before we go into that. Ketosis is a state where your body is producing these things called ketones, which are byproducts of fat, and your body uses them for fuel. Now, you can measure ketosis in a number of ways. You can measure it with a urine. You stick a little stick into the urine, and it'll tell you, are you in ketosis? Are you not in ketosis? Are you in severe ketosis or mild ketosis? There are limitations to the urine sticks because they don't really quantify the level of ketosis. Another way to do it is the breath test. And again, it gives you a little bit more quantification than a urine test. But the best way to do it is actually blood. And it's a really simple test, a little drop of blood at the tip of the finger, and it's put on a little strip that's stuck into a meter. And the meter measures how far into ketosis you are. And it's a very granular measurement. So if you're under 0.5, you're generally considered not in ketosis. So anywhere from 0 to 0.5, or 0.5 is right on the edge. From 0.5 to 1.5, you're considered in mild nutritional ketosis. Between 1.5 and 3, you're considered to be in nutritional ketosis. And after 3, you're considered to be in a therapeutic ketosis. Now, some of you may be thinking, well, I fast and I do intermittent fasting and I've done 2-day, 5-day, 3-day fast, and I find myself with numbers higher than that. Yes, by fasting, by not eating anything at all, your body is no longer relying on glucose from the outside. And for most people, but not all people, we get into a higher level of ketosis. I've been in ketosis up into the 7s on like day 4 or 5 of a water fast. Now, not recommending you out and do a water fast, not recommending that you get into those high therapeutic levels of ketosis unless you know what you're doing. But it's a really nice way to help the body, to kickstart the body into getting the blood sugar balanced, into getting the insulin levels from their usual high levels down into a lower level, which facilitates fat burning. So I'm a big fan of using mild nutritional ketosis. I first stumbled on it, like I said, when I was doing blood sugar balancing. And I realized that the people who got the best results on my sweet spot blood sugar balancing program were those who were going into ketosis more quickly. Those who could keto adapt, is the phrase, more quickly were actually starting to shed weight even within the first few days. Other people who had more resistant weight to lose, that just wasn't kicking out, those people were slower to keto adapt. Most people do keto adapt. So I'm going to get back to one other thing I mentioned earlier, and we're going to do a whole series on keto and how you do it and what foods you can eat from a plant-powered perspective. And I'm going to explain to you what that means in a bit. But the other thing that we incorporate with keto can be intermittent fasting. And look for our other videos on intermittent fasting for more details on that. Okay, so you got the understanding of what ketosis is. You've got the understanding of the ranges and how we measure it. My favorite way is a finger prick. And now let's talk about how ketones, how being in ketosis helps you with energy. Well, here's the thing. When you're in a state of blood sugar dysregulation, when you're in a state where your body's producing lots of insulin and your blood sugar still is high because you've developed insulin resistance, what happens is you just don't have the energy that you feel like you should have. You don't have the energy to do all the wonderful things that you want to do, but you also don't have the cellular energy either. And you don't have the energy to get rid of what's called reactive oxygen species, ROS, right? Those are free radicals, basically, that damage the cells. Those free radicals, those reactive oxygen species, can be produced by these little powerhouses in all your cells called the mitochondria. So these mitochondria produce a lot of reactive oxygen species, and they have to be eliminated. When we have too much of this happening, we get into a state of dysregulation, of problems, of damage to tissue. So what we find is that when you go into ketosis, when you do a ketogenic diet, is that we get into a state that scientists are now calling mitohormesis. Hormesis being a state where there's stress on the body, but not too much stress, just enough stress to cause positive responses. So, for example, exercise within your limits can be a hormetic stress on the body, and it puts you into hormesis. And when you're in that hormetic stress, it causes the body to react to break down the muscle, but then to rebuild the muscle. So when the mitochondria are dealing with those reactive oxygen species, which can be increased slightly by being in ketosis, at least slightly when you're in a mild state of ketosis, it causes a stress on the mitochondria that then causes them to react in such a way to strengthen and get better at producing energy. So when you look at the benefits of a ketogenic diet, you see improved mitochondrial function, improved energy, improved blood sugar, improved insulin and insulin sensitivity, decreased insulin, quite frankly. We have increased growth hormone, improved growth hormone, and we have improvements to the way that the brain is functioning, the way the brain is transmitting signals, which is why it's so good for people with seizure disorders that are not responding to the typical medications. So mitochondria are your powerhouses in every cell of the body. We need to support them with good nutrition. We need to have plenty of B vitamins. We need to have enough oxygen entering into the cells. We need to have enough sugar entering into the cells. So if you're in a state of insulin resistance, then you're not going to get enough sugar into those cells. If you're under a lot of stress and you're not doing deep breathing, you've got shallow breaths, you're not getting enough oxygen into those cells to be able to support proper mitochondrial function. If you're eating processed food, which is devoid of the B vitamins and a lot of the amino acid precursors that you need to actually make neurotransmitters. So there's so many things, and I'll be going on and get into more detail, not just about how the ketogenic diet works, but how do we do the ketogenic diet right? And I believe, and I've experienced this over the last 12 years working with clients and personally myself over the last 12 years, that when you get into a mild state of nutritional ketosis, it helps you to permanently keep your blood sugars down. Now, of course, if you go out of it and you eat a candy bar, your blood sugars are going to go up, but it helps you to stay in that state, but it helps to restore the insulin sensitivity. So that's why mild nutritional ketosis works so well. And that, like I said, is anywhere between the 0.5, 0.7 on the blood ketone meter up to 1.5, 2, even higher than that. But you don't want to go beyond 3 unless you're being supervised or you're fasting. So ketosis. We know what ketosis is. We know how it affects the mitochondria. We know how it affects the brain. We know how it affects the blood sugar. So what is like what I call dirty keto versus clean keto? Dirty keto is you're drinking a lot of oil because you're supposed to be eating a lot of fat. And a lot of folks, I call it the butter and bacon diet. In fact, the funny thing was I was doing a webinar and talking about ketosis and clean keto, dirty keto. And I was looking for a picture that would depict the butter and bacon diet. And I was going to put a heading on it, the butter and bacon. So I went on Amazon and I was going to look at the book covers and I typed in butter and bacon. Guess what? There's actually a book called The Butter and Bacon Diet, The Ultimate Guide to Ketosis. Don't buy the book. Don't follow that diet. Butter and bacon are not your friends. You need, studies show, research indicates we need a lot of plants in our diet. You don't have to be exclusively plant-based, but in some conditions it does help. I know some doctors that use a plant-based keto approach to people with cancer, and they're putting people into remission. So butter and bacon, not your friends. If you're eating a lot of the lard and the, what is the other stuff called? Well, coconut oil, MCT oil, lard, and tallow, right? You're getting a lot of fat. And that supposedly puts you into ketosis. But what's it doing to your arteries? What's it doing to your body where you're getting so many reactive oxygen species? So if you can use a plant-based, plant-powered ketogenic diet where you're eating a lot, and I mean a lot, an abundance of the rainbow, low water content, low carbohydrate veggies, things like celery and cucumbers and eggplant and zucchini and even carrots, to the extent some people can eat carrots and stay in ketosis if they cook the carrots, and it tends to pop them out. But you find it for yourself, that balance of tons of colorful vegetables. My friend Dr. Terry Walls uses this kind of a diet to reverse autoimmune disease. She reversed her own multiple sclerosis. She recommends somewhere between 9 and 12 cups of veggies a day as part of the diet, in all different colors and shapes and sulfur containing, etc. We can go into more details on future, and we will go into on other videos. But what I want to leave you with is this. If you're looking to have a lot of energy, you don't want to bog yourself down with all that kind of fat. And the fat that's in the tallow and the lard and the oils, they don't have the rest of the constituents of the foods. Olives are a great food. In fact, I had some olives as part of my dinner. I had olives and tomatoes and a green smoothie for my dinner, loaded with plants, loaded with good fats. But I had all the extra fibers and all the extra good proteins and stuff, not a lot in the olives because they're high. They're like 75% fat. But you can get your fat and you can get your fiber and you can leave off the carbohydrates that tend to turn into glucose, and you can get a moderate amount of protein. This is what a lot of people don't realize. Ketogenic diet doesn't mean you're eating burgers all day, right? They go, oh, I'm just eating burgers. I eat them on lettuce instead of the bun. But too much protein can get converted into glucose and knock you out of ketosis. I've seen it happen over and over and over again. So if you want lots of energy, if you want to fuel your mitochondria, if you want to put your mitochondria in the state of mitohormesis, a ketogenic diet where you're going into a mild state of nutritional ketosis and staying there, and you can cycle in and out. A lot of research indicates that maybe 1 or 2 days a week that you cycle out of ketosis and back into it. Nobody's saying this has to be 100% of the time. But if you're going off the ketosis and you're going to eat a higher carb day, go for the berries and the kiwis and maybe some quinoa or cooked and cooled potatoes with the resistant starch. But don't go for white bread and crackers and chips and other stuff like that. But you can cycle in and out. Your body is miraculous. Your body knows how to be healthy. Your body knows how to heal itself. And when you do that, you get optimal health. When you take care of this and you feed it right, your body has plenty of energy, not just to do all the things you love to do and to go out dancing or hiking or running or swimming or playing with your kids, but also to have cellular energy for healing, for repair. Constipation is fatigue of the bowels, and depression is fatigue of the brain and the neurotransmitters. When you have the right amount of energy in those levels, you get to feel your best. You get to heal your best, and you get to protect yourself. I am so passionate about this that I've been doing webinars and trainings on this energy production over the last month or so. And in fact, I have another one coming on up, and I have a full 2-day workshop that I can't wait to do called Your Genes, Your Diet, and Your Energy. And I'll put the link in the chat below if it's something you're interested in looking into. So if you like this kind of stuff, if you like to go deep with what you should be doing nutritionally and why you should be doing it, if you're a health practitioner and you want to know more how to serve and help your clients and your patients, probably didn't learn this stuff in medical school or nursing school. Subscribe to the channel, like the page, join the group, and enjoy this health and the vibrance that you deserve. And share this with your clients. Share the link with your friends. And I will see you on the next time. This is Dr. Rita Marie, and thank you so much for being here.